Chapter 91 Annual Tournament Preliminaries Part. 1 You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as Azzy blurted out Neil's rank, he immediately shut his mouth tightly and scolded inwardly. Staying with this troublesome cousin even influenced me to the extent of getting my tongue loose. Anyway, it doesn't matter if I just ignore it. Mid. Rank. 7, what are you talking about? Barbara asked him curiously. Not important, just remembered something. Azzy shook his head and looked away. Meanwhile, Neil, upon realizing that his soul rank was revealed to a person of lower ranks, frowned while staring at Azzy. Since Azzy refused to speak further, Neil too stayed silent on the matter. Just then, Exia announced the start of the 254th annual tournament as Leonard finished with the pledging ceremony. After Leo went back to his place, she then took out a card and activated it before placing it on the ground. All of a sudden, a 30-meter * 30-meter * 1 meter platform rose from the ground, startling the students who are standing right above it. And it isn't just a simple platform made with stone. There's also some kind of barrier placed around it. It is something they have specially created just for this tournament to attract the attention of the talents. Usually, the teachers will unleash a barrier together on the day of the tournament. However, from now onwards, with this unique battleground card, they wouldn't need to do it anymore. Looking at the students, Exia spoke in a serious tone. New rule has been added to the tournament, which is the battleground restriction. If any of you land outside of the barrier, even if you don't touch the ground, it will be declared as your defeat. Just in case, let me remind all of you that all the item cards except for storage cards are prohibited to use during the battle. You also cannot use any kind of treasure. Break the rules and you will be disqualified. She then moved her eyes from the students to the audience and instantly changed her expression. With a smile on her face, she announced, let's start with single matches. The first match, Gideon of grade .8, Elite Division and Sylvester Stripes of grade .9, Soul Plant Division. Aside from these two, the rest of the participants, clear the space. As the rest of the participants left the barrier, UFER and another rank .6 expert entered the stadium. While the hired expert stayed with the students, UFER climbed the platform. Exia left the place saying goodbye to the audience and UFER took the mic from her. Many of her fans screamed in unison, Goddess Exia, please don't leave. However, she just smiled and waved her hands while leaving. Meanwhile, UFER introduced himself as the proctor for the tournament. Well, he received many boos from the audience because of his appearance and Exia's absence, but he didn't care about it and raised the ruby-eyed cobra-headed staff. Looking at Gideon on the stage, Barbara asked, Azrael, is this the guy? This time, she was able to hold her tongue. Azzy nodded in response. A day earlier, while returning to the academy, he told her about a guy from her clan who is his classmate. Upon hearing it, at first, she was tempted to meet him to get back home, but then, upon Azzy's reminder of her promise that she made to him, Barbara didn't meet him. Not to mention, he's just some insignificant branch family member to her. However, he didn't expect this guy turned out to be a peak. Rank .4. She wondered why she hasn't heard of him, then. If Gideon is a genius who was able to reach peak. Rank .4 by the age of 13 or 14, after 27 years, shouldn't he be at least rank .6? If that's the case, he would have been known within the clan. Azzy had seen him in the clan. That would mean he wasn't expelled from the clan either. Then, how come he was unknown? Questions appeared in her head. She didn't know that he was originally fated to breaking through to rank .4 by killing a weaker Galarian beast, which in turn make his Arcana spirit stay at gold grade. However, with Azzy's intervention, Leo was forced to choose a mutated beast for him before trying to ambush Azzy. After his Arcana spirit mutated once, his progress really became fast. Combining with Azzy's help as a shield, he was able to hunt down the beasts in Arcana world at a faster pace and rose to peak. Rank .4 within just 8 months. As Barbara got confused with Gideon's current soul rank, Azzy mumbled, good luck, Gideon. His words brought her to reality and her entire attention was placed on the platform in the middle of the arena. As Ufiar raised the staff, the eyes of the cobra turned red while he muttered, pointing it towards the both of them, seal of equality. Within a second, Gideon felt some kind of chain on his soul orb, restricting a part of his soul energy. Get ready, Ufiar spoke. Remember, the time limit is 15 minutes. The both of them summoned the soul cards. Gideon found out that his soul power is reduced from 96,227 to 71981. This is the seal of fairness which will equalize the amount of soul power of two people. Come out, Ryga. Gideon summoned his mutated gold-grade lightning sword while his opponent summoned a tree monster. ZZZZZZ** a sword appeared in his hands with lightning sparks all over its blade. Without even wasting any time, he took out a 4-star skill card. However, the stars aren't in black but in silver color, which indicates that it is an intermediate level. He activated it. Activate skill card, Thunder Steps. As soon as the card disappears, in the next second, everyone saw lightning sparks on his legs. Sylvester's face turned serious and ordered his tree monster to get ready for battle. Right then, he saw Gideon suddenly disappeared and reappeared just a foot away from his arcana spirit. Before he was able to react, the tree monster was slashed several times in different directions. Holly! Sylvester screamed as he saw his arcana spirit ended up killed. Meanwhile, the entire audience was shocked to see his performance. Except for those who are of rank. And above, no one even saw Gideon until his reappearance. Even rank .5 experts only saw a blurry figure of him, except for Azzy who was used to that kind of speed. The guests from the other academies noted his name in their minds. As for the scouts, they still didn't think much of him as Gideon used a skill card. It's not his power. Not to mention, his opponent is also a weakling. In their eyes, only rank .5 students are worthy to pay attention to. On other hand, Barbara exclaimed, he's really fast. I barely saw him slashing at him, 3 times. 5. Azzy and Neil said at the same time. Both of them looked at each other before Azzy looked away. Meanwhile, Barbara turned her head towards Neil in surprise, 5 times. Were you also able to see it, Mr.? Neil shrugged his shoulders. Once you have enough battle experience, you will be accustomed to such things. He wasn't bothered by his tongue slip as he was saying the truth. It's not because of his level he was able to see the attacks. Neil was confident that he would still be able to see it even if he were a rank .4. This was the reason he was surprised when Azzy pointed out the same. Recalling Barbara's statement about Azzy's participation, Neil wondered whether it is because of sufficient battle experience, this kid's master isn't letting him participating in the tournament. Meanwhile, Ufiar announced Gideon's victory. The audience erupted in cheers. Gideon waved his hands to the audience with a grin on his face as he got down from the platform. One after another, single matches proceeded. There aren't that many participants in singles due to the presence of Leonard and other 10th grades with 5-star soul rank. Even if they get to finals, they knew it would be useless. So, most of them seemed to choose the duo battles category. The rest of the 9 single battles were completed within 2 hours, and Ufiar announced a 15-min break. The battles ended up quicker than I expected, Ufiar mumbled to himself. Barbara took out some snacks from the storage card and shared them with Azzy. Out of consideration, she also gave a couple of them to Neil, which he didn't refuse. After the break is over, duo battles were started. Chapter 92 Annual Tournament Preliminaries Part. 2 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The very first duo battle turned out to be an unexpected surprise to Azzy and the other students that are standing below the platform. Lark Sandru of Grade .8 Elite Division, Zona of Grade .10 Elite Division, Mia Leverett of Grade .9 Elite Division, and Snivy of Grade .9 Soul Weapon Division. The 4 of you, please step onto the platform. Several students were surprised to this daughter of the ex-president teamed up with a rival of hers from the Soul Weapon Division. Just a week ago, they even battled against each other in a team battle, although it was stopped in the middle. As for Zona and Lark, they weren't that surprised now that they are dating. Even though they were disappointed that this goddess has been taken, the younger male students still cheered for Zona, the student council vice-president. Lark summoned his orange-furred dog beast and lovely Zona summoned a slime monster, which suddenly transformed into that of Lark's arcana. Meanwhile, Mia summoned her oak tree and Snivy summoned the giant hammer that's twice her size. It appeared so heavy that it even made a small dent on the platform as she casually put it down. The scouts as well as the students from other academies were stunned to see so many gold-grade arcanas, one after another. After all, in their view, Acleon City is a place for talentless people. The city was constructed in the 8th epoch. For the past 20,000 years, and to date, there isn't a rank .9 Arcana Master emerged from the Acleon City. Even the sole rank .8 Arcana Master from the last epoch passed away. As for the Academy, everyone just considered it as a mediocre academy despite possessing a few talents that shined in national and international tournaments. It's because none of them were able to grow stronger and ended up being mediocre after admitting into special academies for advanced education. So, naturally, the scouts, as well as the guests, looked down on the academy and its students. However, they didn't expect the academy is hiding so many talents. For example, the 4 people who are standing on the platform, all of them possessed gold-grade arcana spirits. Not to mention, one of them being a mid-rank .5 expert who was restricted to peak.rank .4. It isn't rare for students to possess gold-grade arcana if they belong to top academies, but the fact that this small academy in a mediocre city possessing such talents is indeed rare. Some academies even felt ashamed for thinking that they are superior to these students. The crowd cheered in excitement as the battle started with Lark and Zona's offense. "Is this classmate of yours strong?" asked Barbara upon hearing the announcement that he's from the elite division of grade .8. Compared to an average person, Lark is indeed not only stronger but also smarter, although he's a terrible leader. "I don't know much about Zona, but both of them will be helpless against the girl with the oak tree spirit. Snivy wouldn't even need to make a move." As he made a statement in a plain tone as if he already saw the outcome. "The girl is that strong?" Barbara was surprised as she focused on the contestants. She wondered how that is possible with a rank .5 on the field. But, when she saw the battle, the scenery appeared different from Azzy's claim. It was just going how she thought it would go. Both of the dog beasts were fiercely attacking the tree. It was trying to defending itself with its branches. However, with their bite force being quite high, the oak tree's branches are getting snapped. As for the 2 girls, they aren't even standing on the platform. Both of them were spotted sitting on the branches. While most of the audience wondered what kind of cowardly tactic is this, the experts saw through their strategy immediately. Most of them have mixed opinions on that. "Are you sure you are talking about the right person?" Barbara looked at Azzy in suspicion. She wondered whether he was just kidding. No matter how she saw it, Mia and Snivy were at a disadvantage with the tree getting damaged. "Yep." Azzy nodded in confidence. He saw both of their potentials, a week ago. In his view, their combat ability is quite high. They have a sure-win plan. "I wonder what kind of plan is this," Barbara mumbled. "Are they trying to exhaust the 2 dog beasts or something?" "No, they are setting up an ambush," Neil said to her to clear the doubts. "This girl Mia indeed knows how to lead a battle. Very soon, the Roots will ambush both of the summoners." "Ambush?" Barbara and Azzy looked at him. Azzy had seen her ability in a person. So, he had an inkling about her secret attack. But, this guy was watching her for the first time. How was he able to recognize the strategy? Is rank .7 that powerful? Or this guy has some special ability? Azzy wondered. Meanwhile, Neil continued, "However, I think they should worry about this girl, Zona. Higher rank doesn't just mean they have higher soul power. It also means they have more battle experiences. In my view, her beast is the one with the most potential on the field. If the girls won't be careful, they might even lose before their plan even gets succeeded. Neil voiced his opinion, standing on Lark and Zona's side. Barbara frowned as she looked at the scene. The dogs were still snapping the branches and the girls aren't making any movements. Mister, do you think Lark and Zona will win? She asked. Neil shook his head with a smile. There's no certainty in battle. Every single decision and every moment of hesitation will change the outcome drastically. However, statistically, just based on the arcana spirits, this Zona's arcana must have the properties of imitation. The key to this battle depends on how strong is its ability. Is it just limited to appearance? Can it also imitate soul skills? How fast can it change its appearance frequently? The answers to these questions determine its potential in the battlefield. Just as his words ended, suddenly, one of the two identical dog beasts transformed into a python. It started to crawl up the tree in a spiral motion. Not only Mia and Snivy but even the audience was also taken aback in surprise. The scouts noted her name in their minds. Should I make my move? Snivy asked Mia upon seeing the python already reached halfway. Let's hold on for a while. Saphira's roots have almost spread enough. All we need a perfect moment to ambush. Mia's face turned serious. Just like I said earlier, to get into the Champions League, we will have to conserve our skills as much as we can. When the time comes, people will underestimate you and will target you for sure. Unless we do that, we have no chance against these rank .5 seniors. Meanwhile, Zona, who was watching both of the girls, felt something wrong with their stillness. As the python reached her opponents, she ordered it to attack them. She was also prepared to use soul skill to paralyze them with its poison. Just as she opened her mouth, all of a sudden, several thick roots erupted from the ground and captured both of their legs. Before they realized what's going on, they were already hanging upside down, 20 feet in the air. A few moments later, we admit defeat. Zona hurriedly shouted as their arcana spirits were also being captured by the tree roots and their life force being sucked away. When the both of them were captured by the roots, the python and the dog quickly abandoned their intention to attack the enemy and turned around to save their masters. However, no one expected the attack of the roots all over the field. Before they even reached their masters, they were captured tightly. Saphira's roots then started to suck the life force of the arcana spirits. The beasts became thin in no amount of time. Before they get killed, Zona admitted defeat while dismissing her beast. After all, if their beasts were killed, it would take a while for them to revive and the couple would be forced to give up the tournament. Wow! Barbara exclaimed as the proctor announced the winner. She was really too strong. Told you so. As he let out a comment and glanced at Neil to check his expression. Chapter 93 Annual Tournament Preliminaries Part .3 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Unlike what Azzy expected, Neil doesn't appear to be embarrassed about his earlier statement on watching out for the couple. Instead, he let out a sigh, a pity. The tree girl is faster. After the battle is finished, the scouts became excited about the upcoming battles but what they got in return is nothing but disappointment. While the general audience was satisfied with flashy techniques and longer battles, the scouts were still disappointed with not being able to find any more geniuses with gold.grade arcana or 5-star soul ranks. Their first impression of the academy once again returned. However, they still kept their eye on some candidates with purple grade arcana spirits too. After all, purple grade is still the next best thing after gold.grade. Their maximum potential is still rank .8. With a few more duo battles to spare, UFER announced a 1-hour lunch break. As Azzy and Barbara about to leave their seats to go for lunch, Barbara asked Neil whether he wanted to join them. As a rank point 7 master, even though Neil can stay without food for his whole life, he still followed both of them. He appeared to be extremely interested in Azzy. The most intriguing part of him is that he wasn't able to figure out Azzy's attribute even though he pretty much sensed Barbara's. He felt like some mysterious force is blocking him from prying into Azzy's soul. If Azzy was of a similar rank, Neil would have understood, but they have two ranks apart and he was someone who possessed a platinum grade beast. So, unless Azzy's arcana is far more powerful than his, it wouldn't be possible. And is there any beast above platinum grade? Sadly, except for the Reaper and the hidden clans, no one knew about the existence of celestial grades. Meanwhile, Azzy was wondering why this rank point 7 following them without minding his business. Was he a scout of some top organization? Does he want to recruit them or something? Or was he just a pedophile who was after his cousin? Whatever the reason, Azzy felt it would be better to stay from this guy. The three of them made their way towards the food stalls as they can't eat together either at the male dorm or female dorm. As for the cafeteria at the Elite Division building, it was closed for the day. Like them, thousands of people also intended to check out the food stalls within this break. Due to that, it appeared to be too crowded. Finding the chance, Azzy said, "Barbara, let's eat outside. It will take too much time if we eat here." Barbara nodded, "Fine. It doesn't matter for her where the place is, as long as the food is good." As soon as Barbara agreed, Azzy then looked at Neil and said, "Sorry that we weren't able to accompany you. But, we need to leave, right away." Barbara also realized that it would be too inconvenient for this neighbor seat guy to eat with them in the city. As she was the one who invited him, she immediately apologized. Neil waved his hands with a smile, "It's all right." Azzy and Barbara parted their ways with him. Neil, on the other hand, misunderstood that they are a couple and gave them the privacy the guy probably wanted. Looking at their backs, he mumbled, "No need to be anxious. We will meet some other time, anyway." 2 hours later, Azzy and Barbara returned. They had trouble with the waiting time. By the time they reached the arena, it was already full. Barbara almost threw a fit at Azzy for taking her outside. So, Azzy used his access card for the back entrance and made his way inside. Barbara followed him. On the way, he met a couple of guards. As both of them aren't in school uniforms, they were questioned. Azzy simply showed his unlimited access card that allows him anywhere at any time within the campus except for female dormitories. After they find its authenticity, they contacted the vice principal through walkie-talkies and further verified his identity. As they backed away, he took her to the second floor where she was able to watch the battles through the glass. Within the past 8 months, Azzy visited every place on the campus and remembered the routes. So, it didn't pose a problem for him to find an empty chamber on the 3rd floor which is usually allotted for VIP guests who wish to watch from indoors. They took the seats and continued to watch the last duo battle. Azzy didn't think too much about not able to watch Claire's battle as he knew she would win. After the duo battles are finally over, a 30-minute break has been announced and after that, the second round of the single battles has been commenced with enough time left. For the second round, once again, Gideon ended up being the first contestant to battle. His opponent is an 8th grader of Soul Weapon Division. "Get ready to face defeat, Gid," Rowan spoke as he pointed the sword at him. Gideon grinned, "Sorry but I will win, this time, and widen the gap further." Rowan and Gideon used to be rivals when both of them used to be in the Soul Weapon Division. With both of them being equally skilled sword users, they constantly sparred every day for 4 years until Gideon was promoted to the Elite Division after placing second place in the intermediate category, grade 5.7. While Gideon continued to grow stronger at a rapid pace in the Elite Division, Rowan wasn't able to keep up with him in terms of soul power. However, he still believed that he would win the match, thinking that he was superior in terms of technique. As soon as the whistle is blown, both of them dash towards each other. Unlike the first round, Gideon didn't use the skill card to enhance his speed. So, most of them were able to see him, this time. Like Gideon, Rowan also neither used skill cards nor soul skills. Both of them are just relying purely on their techniques. In the end, Gideon won just a minute before the time limit with him breaking the opponent's sword. The finishing move where he sliced the sword in crescent motion was the highlight of the match. Everyone applauded for both of them. Rowan was dejected upon realizing the difference. He can't help but let out a sigh while taking out a healing card to recover. The cuts on his body disappeared very quickly. Meanwhile, a seemingly ordinary middle-aged man who watching the battle from the corner, smiled, looks like Gideon is doing well. I guess it's time for him to return to the village. Clan leader will be delightful to find a gem in the midst of a branch clan. Clap clap clap. Barbara clapped in excitement as she cheered for Gideon. He really mastered the sword techniques of the clan. With only two of being alone, she didn't feel the need to hold back herself. Azzy was however is still on alert. Upon confirming that no one is eavesdropping, he resumed the conversation. Were you taught sword techniques? He stared at her. If not, how would she know whether Gideon mastered it? Chapter 94. The principal is a rank .8 Arcana Master. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. It looks like Barbara was able to catch on to Azzy's thoughts. She shook her head. No, but I heard that the final move of Crescent Clan's sword techniques will emit a blue aura. The darker the blue, the higher the mastery. When it reaches navy blue, one can say they mastered the technique. Dad said that its power is even superior to soul skills. However, to execute it, there are certain conditions that need to be fulfilled. I don't know what they are though. L.C. Azzy nodded and then looked at Gideon, who joined the other students below the battle platform. With the completion of single battles, UFER announced that the day one of the tournament is over. Everyone started to leave. Azzy and Barbara also parted their ways. She returned to her teammates while he returned to the dorm. Sitting on top of his bed, he closed his eyes to meditate. However, what he saw were the matches that occurred throughout the day. The battles, the cheering of the audience, teamwork between people in duo battles, all of them induced a desire to battle, in his heart. He imagined himself on the stage. However, he quickly suppressed the thoughts and slowly went into a deep meditation. Meanwhile, at the principal's office, Barton was attending to his guests. Both of them appeared to be of peak rank .7 and also of the same age as him. In fact, they were his friends who graduated along with him at the Central Academy, more than 800 years ago. Barton, I heard that you have taken in a genius disciple. One of his friends named Ryland suddenly brought Azzy into the topic while they were casually having a discussion regarding the Champions League. He was an elder at Crusaders, a private organization set up by a peak rank .8 expert. Barton frowned in response. He wondered whether this guy was eyeing for his disciple or something. It appeared that Ryland realized Barton's thoughts upon seeing his expression. He quickly said, I'm just curious what made you change your mind after that incident. Oh. You are talking about that brat. What was his name again? The other old man expressed his displeasure as soon as he was reminded of the kid who didn't even hesitate to betray his master for the sake of power. Neil. Replied Ryland. Barton slowly said, it's already been 60 years. Why bother talking about him? Knock knock. Just then, the door has been knocked twice before Amelia put her head inside upon receiving the permission. Yes, Ms. Light. Sir, there's a man waiting outside. He said he's from WAMO headquarters. She informed. Oh. Please let him in. Barton replied. She nodded and walked away. Barton stood up on his feet. He turned anxious about how this representative is gonna be. However, a few seconds later, his facial expression changed as Neil entered the room. You. Why is it you? Barton almost growled in anger upon seeing this traitorous disciple of his. Neil greeted him with a bow. "Greetings, master." "Who the hell is your master?" Barton erupted in anger and released his aura. Just his aura alone pushed away all the furniture in the room. Meanwhile, the three rank .7s felt a huge pressure dawned on them. While Neil managed to stand steady, the other two old men staggered their feet and almost bent their knees under the pressure. Their eyes were widened in surprise. Right now, they were no longer able to sense his soul rank despite being at peak levels, which tells that Barton has already broken through to the next rank. Not only the three of them, but the aura also affected everyone else on the campus. Thankfully, aside from few staff members, no one is in the administration building, so, the people below rank .5, including the guests from top academies, felt slight suffocation. Rank .6 experts, who were far away from the building, didn't feel much and only felt the air around them became heavier. The hidden rank .7 experts immediately became alert. They realized it is the aura of a strong peak. Rank .7 expert or a rank .8 expert. As one usually releases their aura when angered or to pressure someone, they wondered what might be the reason. "Barton, stop it. Students are in the school." Upon hearing Ryland's shout, Barton forced himself to calm down and dismissed his aura. However, his anger hasn't completely disappeared yet. "So you quitted Special Forces and joined WAMO?" Barton glared at Neil. Neil nodded with a smile. "Yes, I was recruited after a rescue operation." "Sit." Taking a deep breath, Barton pointed to the sofa that was pushed away to the wall. Neil dragged it and comfortably sat in it while thanking him. "So, what are the qualifications that WAMO is expecting from us?" Barton asked him calmly. He decided to put up with him for now. Hosting the league is more important. Without minding the other two old elders, Neil got to the point directly. 1. Facilities. 2. Quality of teachers. 3. Quality of students. 4. Security of the academy. 5. Recognition. These 5 categories will be evaluated. As long as the academy proves that it is first-rate in all of them, Acleon Academy will not only host the tournament but also get a star rating from the organization. It will be listed in the recommended first-rate academies after AEE's results are out. And to host the league, the academy should be qualified as the first rate in at least 3 of them. If not, then, the hosting rights will be given to Egrian Academy. Even if I'm an alumnus of this academy, my evaluation will not be biased. As if we need your support, Barton snorted while folding his hands to the chest. And please don't call yourself our academy's alumnus. You never graduated from the academy and I have already removed your name from the register. Neil sighed inwardly as he heard Barton. The next day started with duo battles. After they are over, the third round of single battles started. By the end of the day, single and duo category matches are finished. Gideon won all of his matches and went to the knockouts. Claire, who teamed up with her classmate, only won 1 out of 3 matches and got eliminated. It so happened that her friend, Iris Arcana Spirit, was killed in the first round, which made her depressed, and eventually, she forfeited from the tournament. With no partner to fight with, Claire was also eliminated directly. When Azzy met her, she doesn't seem that bothered and in return, she said that she will go to the league through group matches. Neil continued to observe everything in secret for his evaluation. Barton relayed the news to the other staff members but didn't disclose his identity as he doesn't want a rumor that his ex-disciple did him a favor when the academy will pass through the evaluation. Day 3 of the tournament started with group matches. The stadium is packed with people. After all, it is the first time there are group battles in the annual tournament. However, a big problem had arisen. Unlike with single and duo battles, most of the group battles were rather messy with imperfect teamwork. Not only the students weren't able to perfect their teamwork but a lot of them also unintentionally attacked their own teammates. Chapter 95 Annual Tournament Preliminaries Part. 4 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Now the next battle is between Team Breakers and Team Hercules, Exia announced in the mic. Who, clap clap, Goddess Exia, I love you. Exia. Cheers erupted from here and there, and that too for Exia. The rest of the audience barely clapped as if they lost interest. As the 10 students stepped onto the platform, Exia sighed, even my mermaid tone is no longer working. The battle between the two teams started. However, there are no cheers from the audience. Even though some people are cheering for the kids, it appeared as if the entire arena has been deserted. Meanwhile, looked at Afiar and said, there's no point for me to stay here. I'm going back. No, don't. Afiar suddenly stopped her in panic. Team Unicorn's match is next. I'm sure they will be revitalized once again. Exia shook her head, we can't depend on these 2.3 teams. It won't change the opinion of the scouts and guests. I guess Principal Barton became overly ambitious and made a huge mistake of even implementing group battles into the tournament. Sigh. Yeah, I guess you are right. Afiar can't help but agree with her as he took a look at the current battle. Two people from the same team released soul skills at the same time. Instead of attacking the enemy, due to the attribute relationship, they only cancelled each other. Everything was going well until yesterday. Just what happened today? The teachers thought the students would do a better job in teamwork as they have been working together in a group during the trips to Arcana World. However, they miscalculated about something. Instead of pairing up with the students they are comfortable and compatible with, most of the students paired with the students that can improve their chances of winning as they weren't given enough time to practice. In an academy like Acleon with only a few talents, as geniuses paired up with geniuses and formed teams, the weaker guys had no choice but to team up between themselves. It only widened the gap between the teams further. Naturally, the teams filled with dropouts and other less talented students will cause huge trouble. Meanwhile, a few of them teamed up with weaklings to get attention from scouts. Some of their plans are backfired because of pig-like teammates while others manage to grab the attention of the scouts, although they are from second-rate academies. Afiar and the other teachers who are watching from the audience section can't help but shook their heads and let out a sigh. They finally realized the difference between Acleon Academy and other first-rated academies. The locals who came to watch the tournament also felt disappointed and a few of them stood up and decided to leave as they had enough of it. They went to the other arenas where the lower-grade students are good at teamwork as they teamed up with friends, unlike these ambitious seniors. The addition of group battles itself is the highlight of the tournament. All of their expectations turned worse after watching this Messier teamwork. So, to make sure the audience stay in the arena, Exia had to step in. With her sweet voice augmented by her mermaid tone ability, she was able to attract most of the audience. However, everything has a limit. Eventually, her magical voice also lost its effect. If not for a couple of teams that showed splendid techniques and teamwork, probably, even scouts would have gotten disappointed. And one shouldn't even mention the guests. They have long looked down on the academy. Due to a few spectacular performances, just as they about to slowly change their opinion, the group battles caused a huge disappointment. Most of them got bored and wanted to return to the dormitories. They felt that their initial impression about Acleon Academy being nothing special is right. However, at the same time, they aren't also underestimating Acleon Academy and still saw them as worthy opponents because of a few teams with excellent teamwork. With everyone performing poorly, these three teams shined brightly like a full moon in the night. The differences were evident and can be seen even from the response of the locals. Whenever Team Twilight, Unicorn, and Sword Masters appear, the crowd goes wild and the remaining time, they look as if they don't exist. Between these bipolar situations, the tournament continued. Round 1, Round 2, Round 3, Top 8, and finally, it's the time of semifinals. The first semi-finals, Team Unicorn and Team Sword Masters. Even Exia appeared cheerful as she announced these teams. Who? As if there's a hungry man who saw a feast before him, the audience roared like crazy. Their claps were also becoming a lot louder, completely opposite to that of the previous match. Even the guests from top academies became attentive. Prince Light, Unicorn, Prince Light, Unicorn, Unicorn, as the civilians cheering for their fifth prince, Leo, and his team members stepped onto the platform. Team Unicorn, which was led by Leonard Light, was a team full of rank .5s and is being formed a long time ago. All of them are friends for 7.8 years and they usually company operate with each other even on Arcana World trips too. Leonard Light, Bay Passel, Zona, Dale Stripes, and Catherine. Too bad that Zona wasn't able to bring in Lark to the team due to his insufficient soul power or what would people call being a weakling. So, Lark formed his own team with weaklings to get attention from the scouts of top academies. While he was able to enter the top 8 and later got eliminated by Swordmasters, the scouts didn't give a thought about his recruit. Unless one shows tremendous potential, scouts rarely look at people outside of 10th graders. After all, only the special academies from Arcana World allow a kid to be admitted even if they are under 15 years old. So, scouting a kid below that age is a waste of time for these scouts from other nations. Whistle. As the whistle being blown, Team Unicorn stood in formation with Bay Passel and Catherine on the front. Leonard and Dale on the back while Zona stood in the middle. Bay summoned his beast, the armored gorilla, which is known for its defense. Catherine summoned a giant steel armadillo, which is not only known for its sturdy shell but also sharp claws. Zona summoned the slime, which then changed to that of an oak tree. As for Leo and Dale, they climbed the tree and stood on a branch. Below the platform, Mia's face turned dark as she looked at the tree that Zona copied her arcana spirit. Since she knew that Zona's slime can even copy the beasts of other soul skills, Mia wondered about the conditions to achieve that. She also wanted to see the slime's limitations. After all, they will have to battle each other in the finals. Meanwhile, Swordmasters, which is a team made of sword users, also stood in two groups as they summoned the swords with different attributes. Two of them have a fire attribute, one is of water attribute, one is wind, and the last one is lightning. The most notable of this team is Rowan. Despite being a rank .4, his mastery over the sword techniques was praised by many. The one with the wind attribute stood with the fire users. Meanwhile, Rowan stood with the lightning attribute. As wind will assist fire, and water will assist lightning, they decided to go with combo attacks for maximum damage. Team Swordmasters is the first one to launch an attack. And it isn't a small one either. They directly decided to go with a bigger attack of using soul skills. 3 soul skills are launched at the same time. With the Gale Winds supporting the Fire Salamander and Fire Slash, their peak rank .4 attacks increased by a next step and reach a low rank .5 attack. With their opponent's ability restricted, Rowan and the others thought the combo attack will secure them a win, if not, would at least cause massive damage. However, little did they know they have vastly underestimated Unicorn's teamwork. Bay, Catherine. Use shield. Zona, use copy skill card. Leo ordered them while standing on the branch. The armored gorilla and steel armadillo used their soul skills together to conjure a double layered energy shield before them. Right after that, Zona used her unique skill card, the copy, which can copy any skill that she sees. Of course, there are limitations to the grade and attribute too. In no time, a triple-layered wide energy shield formed before the members of Team Unicorn. Chapter 96 Annual Tournament Preliminaries Part. 5 You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The burning with flame energy was the first to strike the first shield created by Zona's copy card. The shield broke like glass as soon as it was hit. However, at the same time, it almost absorbed the attack too. As a result, the 5 meters large arcade reduced to 1 meter before it hit the second shield. Due to the reduced power, it wasn't able to do any damage to the second shield as its attack power wasn't enough. Right then, the flame salamander strikes it. As a result, while both of Swordmaster's attacks were blocked, Team Unicorn still has a shield left before them. To break it, this time, Rowan took out a skill card and activated it while throwing it. As the card hit the ground, an enormous amount of water started to gush out of the glowing card. Soon, the entire platform was covered with water. Bay and others saw their legs were sunk by at least half a meter. Due to the magical barrier around the platform, the water that was formed by soul energy never got out of it and helped Swordmasters. Team Swordmaster didn't stop there. Everyone took out a 2-star skill card and activated at the same time. They started to float in the air, 1 meter above the ground. Members of Team Unicorn's face turned serious. Upon seeing the water and their floating, they had an inkling of a soul skill attack by the lightning user. Only the expressions of Leo and Zona are unchanged as if they don't care about it. Soul skill. Rising Water Serpent. Rowan raised his sword and unleashed the soul skill, first. His sword turned into a flexible water sword in the shape of a serpent. He spun around and thrust the sword into the air. The water serpent sword suddenly extends as it made its way towards the shield. Upon seeing the attack, all the members of Team Unicorn realized that the next attack would be from the lightning user once the shield disappears. Looking at the expressions of Bay and Catherine, Zona smiled, "Don't worry. I will take care of it." Upon her reassurance, they calmed down. As soon as the water serpent attack collided with the shield, both of them burst into pieces and disappeared. Following the plan, Rowan's teammate Macon, who was a lightning user, unleashed his soul skill while pointing his sword to the surface of the water. Soul skill. 10,000-volt shock. Lightning energy was discharged from the sword and was supposed to conduct electricity through the water body and paralyze the opponents. However, just as the tip of the sword was about to touch the surface of the water, Zona raised her hand, soul skill. Underground roots. All of a sudden, dozens of roots erupted from the ground and tightly captured everyone's legs. At the same time, the roots greedily absorbed the water and they thickened. However, the members of the Swordmasters team didn't have the time to care about it as they are too busy slashing at the never-ending attack of roots. At first, they managed to get free from them. But, after they got strengthened because of water, they felt more difficult to get out of the situation. Rowan was taken aback as he realized that his plan only backfired onto him. Instead of helping out his teammate, he helped out the enemy. Taking advantage of the chaos, Leo made the move. Arg! A heavy punch was landed on the lightning user, first. He was knocked out instantly. The next one to be hit was Rowan, who was startled by the sudden attack by Leo. When did he come here? Just as such a thought passed through his mind, a kick was landed in his stomach. He flew back and passed through the barrier before landing on the ground. He lost his consciousness, right away. Leo was originally a peak.rank .4 Galarian beast with peak.rank .6 strength. So, the spell of fairness that restricts one's soul did nothing to him. So, as long as the spell is activated, he was actually invincible on the field. Naturally, the outcome is obvious. All he needed is one hit to take down each of them. Looking at his swift attacks, the students of even top academies became serious. For the past 3 rounds, they saw Leo exchanged a few blows before defeating them. But now that they saw his skill, they realized he was just playing until now and only took them seriously at the last second, considering Team Swordmasters worthy. Prince Light, Unicorn, Prince Light, amid the crowd cheers, Leo and the others stepped down from the ruined battle platform. Meanwhile, Mia Leverett's eyes lit up. I never thought of using this combo. Indeed, water skill cards can strengthen the roots. Not just the roots, water itself is a supporter of the wood element. Now, she no longer felt displeased for her skill to be copied. She felt that she would have realized it sooner. Congratulations Team Unicorn for reaching the finals, Exia announced loudly. The battle indeed brought back the excitement of the audience. After the battle platform is replaced by a new one, Exia announced the second semi-finals, which is between Team Twilight and Team Rampage. Go Twilight! Barbara was cheering loudly along with the surrounding audience as soon as the members of Twilight stepped onto the stage. Azzy didn't know what happened, but ever since Barbara found out Claire and Gideon are a part of a team, she became their supporter. Is it because Gideon is her family, or is it because she became close to Claire? Or maybe it's because both of them are his friends. He wondered. Meanwhile, Team Twilight, which is made up of Mia, Snivy, Claire, Gideon, and a 10th grader named Calder, moved into their positions for the battle. Unlike the earlier teams from the first semi-finals, there weren't any complicated tricks or combos or anything. The 5 of them separated the enemy and went into 5 versus 5 single battles. Snivy was the first one to finish the battle. It only happened in 5 seconds. She just hit the opponent with her giant hammer. While it didn't do any life-threatening damage, he still flew away and landed outside of the barrier. After finishing her battle, she joined Mia. While both of them were overpowering their opponent, Gideon killed the opponent team member's beast with his super speed and joined Calder, who was defending from the attacks. Meanwhile, Claire finished her battle with the Rampage team's leader. The match was pretty much over within a minute. The crowd erupted in cheers but didn't appear as excited as when Team Unicorn won the match and went to the finals. By ending up at the top 2, alongside Team Unicorn, Team Twilight also secured their participation in the Champions League. Elite Division female dormitories, everyone is having dinner in the dining hall. Claire, Mia, Snivy, another classmate named Minerva, sat together at a table. With their popularity explosion, many girls approached them, some with intentions of scouting and others, well, just to socialize and nothing more. There's even a girl from Egrian Academy who was acting as a messenger of love from her teammate who seemed like he fell for Claire. However, as Claire was stuck with her friends, none of them have gotten the opportunity to talk to her. I heard that the Sun Academy is incredibly hard to get into. Snivy said as she continued to munch the food. Claire nodded, yeah. My sister said that it is easier to graduate from Dragon Academy than Sun Academy. Their graduation exam is a lot stricter than you imagine. One has to kill a rank .6 beast of purple grade by themselves. The higher its grade and stage, the greater their marks would be. As the girls gasped, Claire sighed, that's why the academy only a few students. Even with mid-rank .7 soul power, my sister took several tests to become an instructor. Well, with your strength, I don't think it poses a problem, anyway, Minerva commented. Say, Claire, how's going with Azrael? Did he ask you out, yet? All of a sudden, Mia drops a question out of nowhere. PFF Claire almost spilled the food, what are you talking about? Soon, we'll become 10th graders. So, there's not much time we have left in the academy. I heard that he was sitting with some girl from Moon Academy these days. If you keep quiet, you will only regret it, later, you know. Mia suggested her to make a move if Azzy isn't doing anything as Valentine's Day is roughly a month away. I know that. You don't need to tell me. Claire mumbled while looking down in disappointment. Chapter 97 Neil's Proposal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Principal's Office, Administration Building of Academy. Principal Barton and his ex-disciple sat before each other. No other staff members are present. Are you trying to say that we lack qualifications to host the tournament? Principal Barton spoke coldly as he stared at Neil. You have judged all the 5 categories in mere 2 days when all you did is to sit in the arena. Is that it? He was really enraged inside upon hearing that their academy only met 2 of the requirements that needed to qualify as a host for the Champions League. However, unlike last time, Barton controlled his aura. Neil replied calmly, I have nothing against you, Master. I mean, Mr. Everglade. I received an order from headquarters to provide a solid report that will make Heavenly Academy stay silent and not question its decisions if our academy were to host the tournament. However, from what I see, aside from you and Ma'am Fawns, there are only 4 teachers with a 6-star rank existed in this academy. The rest are of rank .5. Moreover, there are several teachers with even 4-star rank who teach dropouts. I even confirmed the news about teachers getting beaten by students in a fair duel. Teachers are supposed to guide the students. If their strength is weak, how can they train geniuses? No matter what, I can't put the quality of teachers as first-rate. Once your sole rank is being known to the public, maybe, you will be able to hire some higher-rank people. But for now, the quality of teachers is the second-rate. I researched around while lunch and dinner breaks. Most of the students said that the academy is the safest place in the city. Even parents said that they felt at ease when they sent their child to live in the academy. Aside from the usual little bullying, the security of the academy is pretty much worthy to be considered to be first-rate. I don't think I need to mention facilities. They are top notch as always. I even heard that the government has gifted high-quality robots. I think you should use them for training purposes. Anyway, let's talk about where the problem lies. I had the help of a news reporter in gathering opinions from the students of other academies that are here for the Champion League. Do you want to know what they said? Neil looked at Barton seriously. Of the 30.5 students, 16 of them said our academy is trash. 10 of them said our academy is mediocre. 6 of them said our academy is better than average. Only 4 of them said they were satisfied with their stay in the academy. And 90% of the students also admitted that only Leonard Light is a threat for them in the Champions League. After 2 months, he will be graduated. Then, what will you do? You can't depend on 1 or 2 students to gain recognition of first-rate. And finally, the quality of the students. After seeing the results of the worthless group battles, do you still think I should explain about it further? Barton didn't back down. He made a counter-argument. Every academy has its best and worst talented students. This isn't a special academy. Normal academies are entitled to allow all the students to give a chance to learn. And your judgment of recognition itself is flawed, Neil. Normal academies don't only teach how to fight. The majority of our focus lies in normal education. Finus Sylvester, the scientist who received the national award for his contribution to robotics, was this academy's alumnus. BVEC Finus Grace, the CEO of Global Architects, was an alumnus of this academy. Winter, the top leading actress, Electra, the best-selling author, Julius, Peridot, Mervyn, there are several successful people who emerged from this academy. Just because they don't know how to fight, doesn't mean they are worthless. Do you think my academy needs recognition from other Arcana academies that only know nothing but fighting? It has long been recognized by the government. Receiving the Best Academy Award 3 times is already enough to prove that my academy has recognition. Barton's explanation caused Neil to feel a bit ashamed. Honestly, he is a guy who only knows how to fight and was oblivious to many things except for technology. Suddenly, something clicked in his mind and he instantly thought what kind of *T his master is spouting. Neil reminded him, but, we are hosting a battle tournament that involves an Arcana spirit, not a science exhibition or some film festival. Even though I saw a few talents, there should be more than one genius that won't be defeated in battle by the above rank even without any restrictions. By tomorrow, the decision will be made by the committee. So, please bring 3 such students to me once the tournament is finished. Only that way, I can help you out. Silence enveloped the room for a whole minute. Barton seemed to fell into deep thoughts. Meanwhile, Neil patiently waited for his choice. Neil genuinely wanted to help out his master in any way he can, but he was, after all, bound by the duty. Even if he provides a false report going against his ethics and lets the academy host the league, the truth will still be found out sooner or later, and then, WAMO will lose its reputation. That's why he urged Barton to do something about it. At the same time, he also had another objective. The moment he sensed unusualness from Azzy, he didn't waste time researching him. From his research, he found that Azzy was rumored to be the disciple of the principal. His interest grew further upon finding out Azzy's fighting prowess. It didn't take much time for Neil to realize why the boy isn't participating in the tournament even though he has a 5-star soul rank and a platinum-grade beast. He concluded that it has something to do with the insecurity of his master, not because of some nonsense lack of control. After all, in his view, Azzy is a summoner. Why does his personal strength matter in a duel? Neil felt like he saw himself in Azzy. It was the same for him. Even back when he was a student of the academy, Neil saw how his master tried to control his life when he won the national tournament for the first time. Because of the constant appearance of the scouts, he was banned from participating in the monthly tournaments, an annual tournament. The invitations from other intercity and international competitions were also rejected. With his 10th grade always spent in isolation, Neil decided to secretly attend the national tournament without his master's permission and later, won the national tournament for the second time, which led him to meet a high-ranked .8 expert of military background. Being in the rebellious phase, Neil accepted his offer and later, became his disciple without consulting Barton. In the end, the relationship was broken between them. Now, when he returned to the academy after 60 long years, Neil saw his master hasn't changed a bit even though he made a breakthrough. In his view, he was just replaced by Azzy. He felt bad for Azzy. So, he purposely pointed out many flaws in the academy to see what his master will do, now. Will he choose to keep the prestige of the academy that he dearly loved or will he continue to hide the disciple that will eventually leave after a couple of years? After what seemed to be a millennium of silence, Principal Barton opened his mouth. Tomorrow morning, in Arena 2, 3 of our students will challenge you to a battle. Fine, then. Neil stood up on his feet while buttoning his suit. Then, tell them that their opponent is a mid-rank .7 warrior who will not hold back at all. I don't need them to win. Neil then raised his 5 fingers, 5 minutes. As long as every one of them will stay conscious for 5 minutes, Aclean Academy will host the tournament. If not, then, a notice will be given to all the academies about the change of venue. He then left the room leaving behind a furious old man. Barton slammed the table and turned it into dust. It wasn't enough to betray me for your own hunger for power. Must you go this far? Damn you, brat. He was really angered at Neil, thinking that he was trying to tarnish the reputation of the academy. No matter what, my academy will host the tournament. Chapter 98 Annual Tournament Finals Part. 1 You are listening at NovelFull.audio. With Team Twilight entering the finals and secured a spot in the Champions League, Gideon, Mia, and Snivy withdrew from their single and duo matches respectively. On the other hand, Leonard also quit his Team Unicorn to participate in the single duel tournament finals. At first, Zona recommended Azzy for the position and told them that she will request the principal, but it was rejected by Bay and Dale right away, although for different reasons. While Bay just hates Azzy because of Claire, Dale just doesn't want to depend on someone he's not comfortable with. So, they chose to ask the only remaining rank .5 student that is available to recruit. However, very soon they realized that this 9th grader withdrew from the tournament after his plant beast is being killed in a duo match, on the very first day, and it still takes 3 days for his Arcana spirit to be revived. Taking advantage of the dire situation, Zona recommended her 2 years younger boyfriend, Lark, who was eliminated from the tournament. According to the tournament rules, as long as one was eliminated before the top 8, they can be used as a substitution in case if something happens to semi-finalists or finalists' teammates. Using such a rule, she brought him into the team. As Lark was Zona's duo partner in the tournament and also knows how to blend into a team, the rest of the team members also reluctantly agreed with her choice. The day .4 of the tournament started with knock-out rounds of the singles matches in respective stadiums. Originally, out of 20 people that participated in the single matches, only 4 participants who won all the matches entered the knockout rounds. Now, with the withdrawal of Gideon and non-participation of other rank .5s who chose to battle in group finals except for Leo, the knockout rounds became semi-finals with everyone grabbing the spot in the league. Leo's opponent forfeited the match as he knew there's no way he would win against him. The audience was disappointed as they weren't able to see Leo fighting. After that, the second match was between Rowan and Reed Stripes, a close friend of Bay. With no time limit, both of them fought for a long time with giving everything they got. Both of them aimed at only one thing: to acquire the runner-up's rewards. After an hour-long battle, Rowan managed to win. Upon confirming his win, he fell to the ground and fainted. Gideon picked him up and took him to the waiting room to rest. On the other hand, the heavily injured Reed was also picked up by Bay and was brought to the infirmary where he was healed. Both of their tenacious spirits brought huge applause from the public as well as the guests. After a break, Duo Battle's knockout round began. In the end, a team from grade .10 and a team from grade .9 ended up for the finals. By lunch break, all the knockout rounds seemed to be finished and the staff announced everyone to go to Arena .1, the biggest stadium with a capacity of 100,000. Unlike the one at the smaller arenas, the battle platform in the middle of this stadium stretched to as long as 100 meters long and wide. Principal Barton personally created a rank .8 golden barrier around the platform. "Come on, cousin. It's getting late." Barbara picked up her eating speed after looking at the wall clock. "There's still half an hour," Azzy replied in his usual plain tone as he calmly lifted the spoon and drank the soup. But Barbara isn't in a mood to listen. "No way. I listened to you last time and we missed a lot of battles. Today is finals." She quickly finished her lunch. Azzy didn't even get to fill his stomach properly before she dragged him out of the restaurant after paying the bill. "You are a rank .5. You can stay on empty stomach for a week. We can't miss the battles. I can just use the hourglass and rewind the time," Azzy grumbled inwardly while continuing to follow her. Within 10 minutes, they returned to the school. Upon arriving at the stadium, they saw a long line. "Can we go through the back entrance like last time?" Barbara asked him. She appeared too impatient. "No, it's better if we don't," Azzy suggested, to quietly line up here. "Unlike last time, higher-rank government officials and true experts will be watching from the VIP rooms. So, he felt it would be better if he doesn't bring any kind of attention to himself. He still hasn't forgotten that mid-rank .7 expert who sat beside him 2 times. The first time might be a coincidence, but the second one, Azzy thinks it isn't. That's why he even applied seals on his soul orb and suppressed his soul rank to 3-star. Now, with Azzy refusing to go through the back door and Barbara wanted to tag with him instead of her teammates, both of them ended up staying in the line for more than 20 minutes. Both of them took empty seats on the second row of the south wing as the first row is reserved for the guests. A while later, a team of 8 girls wearing school uniforms instead of civilian clothes entered the stadium and took their seats, right before Azzy and Barbara. The youngest girl of the team frowned as she spotted Azzy while she was walking towards her seat. Azzy didn't pay any attention to them and focused on the golden energy barrier. "Kronos, is this barrier different from the usual one?" he asked the Reaper. "It's performed by a rank .8 Arcana Master. And the only one with such rank is your master. I guess he created it to impress the guests, but when you reach rank .7, you can destroy this barrier with a mere finger." The Reaper replied casually, implying that there's nothing exceptional about it. Just then, Exia and a handsome-looking teacher entered the stadium. Azzy was distracted. The crowd cheered in excitement while looking at both of them, be it whether they are male or female. Even Azzy can't help but stare at the teacher who teaches the subject of runes. With her hair dyed to blonde and styled into a thick side braid, somehow, in that light blue long gown, she looked a lot beautiful today, like a princess from fairy tales. Azzy remembered a character from an animated movie while falling into a daze. However, his expression on the outside still appeared indifferent. Hello, I'm your host, Exia. And I'm Falcon. Welcome to the Acleon Academy's annual tournament finals. 1994. Who? The crowd screamed in excitement. First, let us welcome our Academy's founder, who is also currently serving as the principal, Mr. Barton Everglade. Principal Barton made his appearance in front of everyone. Amid the gazes of everyone, he folds his hands to the back and steps forward. At the instant he appeared a few meters away, he stepped once again, disappearing and appearing elsewhere. With the third step, he appeared beside the two hosts. Except for the rank .7 experts, none of the audience was able to see his movements. All they saw is a blurry figure that made it to the center of the stage. Some foreign students thought that the old man was just showing off. Meanwhile, the only peak. Rank .7 in the audience except for Barton's friends, realized that the principal is a rank .8 Arcana Master, not a peak. Rank .7 like they thought. He was actually deployed by the Central Academy to investigate secretly so that they will make Whammo change the venue to a worthy academy. From day one, he was indeed watching the battles in patience and also noting down a couple of worthy talents to recruit. While all of the scouts' eyes were on Leo, he was watching Zona, instead. He was extremely intrigued by her mimic ability. Looking at the principal, he narrowed his eyes. Now, this changes everything. The academy wouldn't want to offend a rank 8 over such a petty issue. Maybe, I should try to recruit him. After Principal Barton's opening speech is over, he left for the VIP section in the East Wing, where it is reserved for the academy teachers and the instructors of the teams that came here to participate in the league. Now, without further ado, let's start the finals with the grade battles. The first battle is between Cedar Stripes and Elvira of grade .3. Chapter 99 Annual Tournament Finals Part .2. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. A week prior to the annual tournament, grade battles were conducted for all classes under the supervision of their respective homeroom teachers and Sahara Fawns. The vice principal acted as a final judge in case the homeroom teachers will show partiality to their students. The tournament finals started with the finals of the grade battles starting from grade .3. The scouts from other normal academies were the ones who paid attention to these earlier battles, as these kids just started their journey. So, it will be easier for them to steal talented ones from Acleon. And now, the last match of the grade battles. From the 10th grade, give it up for Leonard Light and Zona. Amid cheers, both of them made it to the arena and stood before each other with the fairness spell applied on them. Strangely, even though both of them are of rank .5, Zona found her soul power was restricted to 100k for some reason. Almost no one knows about the fact that Zona was the one with the highest soul power in the academy. Originally, she and Leo used to be low. Rank .5 at the beginning of the year. Even though there used to be 150,000 of difference between them, with Leo at 260,000 and hers at 410,000, because of her status as commoner and Leo being a royal prince, she always stayed low-key, afraid of being bullying. She slowly improved herself. But, now that their academy is about to end, she decided to stop being low-key. At first, she showed how strong her slime's imitations can be, and then, she showed how well she's good at teamwork. Now, with the grade battle finals, she intended to show her full potential by defeating this fifth prince once and for all. However, she didn't expect that her soul power will drop by that much. When complained to Ufiar, Leo quickly intervened and explained that it was because of his seal that sealed a part of his soul power. After him, Ufiar also said that it is the weakness of the fairness spell cause it doesn't judge the real rank of a person. He explained that if someone suppresses their soul rank, then, the spell of fairness will just treat it as their real soul rank. Only then, she realized that she had underestimated Leo and overestimated herself. If he's been suppressing her soul rank for a whole year, then, she would lose the battle without question. Once, she realized the reality, Zona decided to save her face. As soon as the battle started, she forfeited right away, surprising everyone even including Leo. I thought you were looking forward to this battle. Then, why? Leo asked her. Zona, who had long prepared the excuse, answered, to win against you, I will have to show all of my trump cards. And who knows, you might also have to fight with everything you got. It isn't worth the risk. Naturally, everyone above rank .6 herd was able to hear her words. Prince Van can't help but sigh, I was expecting to see Prince Leonard's skills. A pity. After declaring Leo as the winner, Exia then announced the finals of the singles matches. The people, who were disappointed earlier, now once again cheered loudly as it's going to be Leo's turn once again. Now, they only hoped that this new guy will not forfeit like a coward. Thankfully, Rowan didn't, or else, the crowd really might have booed. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, whistle. Well, let's not waste much time and finish this quickly. I still have an important battle, tomorrow. Leo mumbled while looking at Rowan, who summoned his water sword. Aren't you going to summon your Arcana spirit? Rowan asked him. L.RG, not necessary. Leo shook his head with a smile on his face. Rowan frowned, I won't be careless as last time. Well, I respect your opinion. However. Leo stopped talking and suddenly dashed towards Rowan. Soul skill. Water barrier. Almost instantly, a barrier appeared around Rowan as Leo threw out a punch. Surprisingly, his punch went through the barrier. However, the speed and the strength decreased by a lot. Raising his sword, Rowan smiled, Senior, you forgot that pure physical strength cannot destroy water. Just as he was about to counterattack him with a slash at his hand, Leo suddenly caught the blade and grinned, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. However, the battle has to end, right away. Gripping on the blade tightly while bleeding, Leo pulled it towards him. Along with the sword, Rowan was also dragged out of the water barrier and fell onto the ground. Before he stood on his feet, Leo dashed towards him once again and kicked him in the abdomen. Like a football was kicked by a soccer player, Rowan flew upwards and crossed the barrier. With the lower part of the ribcage completely destroyed, he coughed out blood and fainted in the air while a rank .6 expert who was hired as a protector, caught him, and then, sent him to the infirmary. From the moment the whistle being blown to Rowan crossed the golden barrier, only 8 seconds have been passed. Prince Light, Prince Light, Prince Light, thousands of audience stood up and cheered his name on the top of their lungs. Looking at it, Zona sighed in relief as she felt she did the right thing to abandon the match. As for Azzy, whose eyes captured every moment of his, asked the Reaper about when he should be exposed. Now it isn't the right time. It will be when he will be forced to show reveal lightning element. The Reaper gave him the answer that he needed as always. Meanwhile, a rank .6 expert who suppressed his rank was watching Leo very intently. His gaze doesn't seem friendly at the moment. The fifth prince seemed to be a lot stronger than the rumors. I need to report it to the Crown Prince about it. Now, there's only one final battle left in the tournament. Give it up for Team Twilight and Team Unicorn. The crowd erupted in applause for a while as both of the teams entered the stadium. However, all of a sudden, the audience quieted down upon finding Lark instead of their favorite fifth prince. Understanding the situation, the male host Falcon explained, due to the tournament rules, Leonard Light had participated in the single battles and gave up the spot for Lark Sandru of grade .8, Elite Division. Even though it isn't as loud as the battle between Rowan and Leo, the audience still cheered up for both teams. After all, other than Leo, there are a considerable number of fans for Claire, Zona, and Mia. Both of the teams stand apart from each other by 30 meters in their own formations. Team Twilight summoned their arcanas and stood in a straight line without any formation. Meanwhile, Team Unicorn stood in their usual 2.1.2 formation with Zona in the middle. As soon as Falcon blew the whistle, Zona made her first move. Vivi, transform. All of a sudden, Zona's slime was transformed into a giant three-headed serpent. Many of the scouts gasped in surprise. All this while, they thought Zona's slime can only imitate other arcana spirits but didn't expect that little slime was able to transform into even a wild creature like Hydra. It implied that either her slime creature can imitate all the beings under gold grade or she knows someone that has the legendary Hydra as their arcana spirit. Most of them felt it was former as no one in history had awakened a Hydra, mainly because of its multiple elements. After all, it was a beast possessing 10 elements. And if some 1.in.a billion genius was able to awaken it, he would likely be the owner of a top-tier platinum-grade beast, which is impossible to be imitated by a gold-grade beast like the slime. Either way, they felt immense potential in Zona. Even Van can't help but sent a message to his instructor to recruit her. Meanwhile, as he remembered his battle against the three-headed serpent in the illusion world. It was one of the beasts that troubled him back then. Since he personally experienced its abilities, as he felt that Gideon and Claire might face trouble. Vivi, go. While the rest of the four backed away, the three-headed serpent made its way towards the enemies. Claire raised her sword. I got this. Soon, Hydra reached halfway when it was blocked by Claire. Just then, a smile appeared on Zona. Excellent, Claire was the one that walked into the trap. Vivi, activate soul skill. Tornado. Zona gave an order. Chapter 100 Annual Tournament Finals Part. 3 You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the three-head Hydra unleashed the soul skill, the greenhead's eyes changed from white to glowing red before the surrounding air started to revolve around it. Almost instantly, Claire got trapped in it and moved in a spiral path towards the sky while a powerful tornado was generated before everyone's eyes. She was trying to move but to no avail. Despite not doing any damage, the wind was completely controlling her movements. With her eyes spinning, Claire closed her eyes and concentrated on the sword she tightly gripped. She poured soul energy towards her hand and then, the sword. Slowly, the sword started to glow in a divine aura. Meanwhile, powerful winds obstructed everyone's vision. Neither from the Team Twilight nor the Team Unicorn was able to see their opponents. Even Zona, who unleashed the skill, was in the same condition. Just then, the glowing sword grabbed her attention. She decided to make the next move and gave the finishing blow. Looking at the tornado, Azzy remembered the memory of being trapped inside the tornado. He remembered how his skin was roasted by the fire-tornado combo. Even though he experienced it in the illusion world, the pain was still fresh in his mind. It was so fresh that a month ago, when the Elite Division made the trip to the Level 2 region of Artemis Mountain Range, Azzy went on a massacre upon spotting the multi-headed beasts. Claire was trapped, Barbara spoke in a worried tone. Before Senior Zona unleashes the lethal combo attack, Claire needs to use the soul energy eruption to get out of there. Or else, her life will be in danger. Although Azzy replied without any emotion, he was still serious inside. Lethal combo attack. Epi, who was kinda paying attention to him, once in a while, wondered about the trump card that Zona holds, which is so powerful that it can threaten an opponent's life who is of a light attribute. While she kept the doubt to herself, Barbara, on the other hand, asked him about it. As he pointed his finger at the three-headed serpent that was sitting at the eye of the tornado, see the heads of the Hydra. They are red, green, and yellow. That means it possesses fire, wind, and lightning attributes. If the redhead uses the next soul skill, Fire Breath, and adds it to the tornado, it will become the Fire Tornado. The attack will reach low rank 0.5. And then, if the yellow head adds the third soul skill to the combo, lightning.fire.tornado or whatever it will be called, not only the attack power will reach high rank 0.5 but Claire will feel the effects of the elements. Tornado will keep her helpless, the fire will roast her skin while the lightning element will paralyze her body so that she won't even get the chance to resist. This is why the authorities put a restriction to enter certain areas like Swan Lake and Snake Valley in the Artemis mountain range. Unless one is peak. Rank. Point 4, one cannot enter those places. Look at the guy behind us. How he's posing to be a knowledgeable person even though he's only a mere rank. Point 3. Must be trying to woo the girl. What a fool. A student of Phoenix Academy whispered to EP who sat next to her. He's the guy that my sister recommended for the Royal Knight. He's rank. Point 5 and owns a platinum grade beast, by the way. EP replied to her while concentrating on the match. Eh. The girl was taken aback and she immediately turned her head to look at Azzy and Barbara who weren't paying attention to them. Because of the loud cheers around, her whisper didn't reach Azzy's ears either. I remember him. He's the blank-faced guy that ignored you and disrespected us, right? She recalled the memory when they just reached this academy. Back then, EP greeted him but didn't get any response, which displeased the other teammates too. At that time, this same girl from the Moon Academy also accompanied him. As she tried to confirm with EP about the same matter, the latter didn't reply and looked straight. It was another bad memory of her. She wasn't willing to recall it. Back to the stage, as the rest of the team members of Twilight hurried forward to save Claire, Zona quickly ordered the team to move out to stop the other four from interrupting. Following her order, Bae Passel's Armored Gorilla and Catherine's Steel Armadillo rushed to the front to defend the vulnerable Hydra that still has one trump card left. At the same time, she made her second move. Vivi, activate Soul Skill. Lightning Strike. Hisses. The yellow head's eyes turned red as it was trying to unleash a lightning strike from the clouds, aiming at Claire. Unlike the tornado, it didn't happen instantly. The clouds are gathering above the stadium, covering the sun. Everyone saw the sparks being generated in the clouds. Looking at how the sword's aura thickened, Zona didn't waste the time and ordered it to strike her down in a hurry. A flash of lightning strikes down from the clouds onto Claire. I didn't expect that this girl Zona would act foolish at this point. A Phoenix Academy student shook her head as she let out a sigh. She's a peak. Rank. Point 5 expert. Captain Lucy. The rest of the girls turned their heads towards her. It's obvious if you look at it. She didn't explain and fold her hands to the chest. What does she mean? Barbara asked Azzy upon hearing her statement. The girl was sitting right in front of her and spoke in a normal tone. It's not hard for Barbara to hear it even with surrounding cheers. The problem lies with the aim. Azzy pointed at the tornado. The lightning strike ripped through the tornado and hit a couple of meters away from the Hydra, making a hole through the battle platform. Meanwhile, Gideon used the Thunder Step skill card to enhance his speed and dash towards his enemy while raising his sword to cut it down. Bedoed him just as the lightning strike missed its mark, Gideon was able to reach Hydra. Soul Skill. Fall of Lightning. Infused with soul energy, sparks on the lightning sword formed an extra layer around the sword. Just as he was aiming at the beast, suddenly, a glowing object dropped from the sky and pierced its body. Gideon was startled at first and jumped back, but then, as he saw the familiar-looking heavy sword that pinned it down, followed by the disappearance of the wind, a smile appeared on Gideon and he dashed towards the armored gorilla that almost reached the Hydra. Like an angel descending onto the earth, Claire, with the holy aura around her body and white wings on her back, slowly landed before the Hydra that returned to being a slime on its own for some reason. Vivi. Zona screamed as she ran towards the beast. Meanwhile, the rest of her teammates were stunned by the sudden turn of events. Lark, who was just standing around with their Arcana beast, made his move to help his girlfriend. Dale also dashed towards the Hydra while carrying his turtle beast. He had no choice because of its slow speed. Everyone, attack. Claire gave an order while grabbing the handle of her sword. As she poured the soul energy into the sword, the aura thickened further. The slime was blown up, right away. Zona halted her steps as she saw her Arcana spirit return to her soul card. It's not over, yet. Looking at Claire seriously, she took out a card with 4 gold stars. Activate, Revival. All of a sudden, the soul card that was hovering around her glowed for a second before the familiar dot-looking slime returned. Vivi, copy. Zona didn't waste any time and immediately turned it into a sword this time. It looks identical to that of Claire's. She then took out a recovery card and filled her soul power to the max. I only have 2 soul skills left to spare. I should use them carefully, Zona muttered under her breath before dashing towards Zona for close combat. Meanwhile, Gideon attacked the armored gorilla with the soul skill that's already activated. Due to its high defense, only a massive cut appeared on its chest and it started to bleed. Dale! Bay shouted. I got it. With the turtle in his arms, as he reached halfway, he then ordered the turtle to help the gorilla.